It's not necessarily love, it's dependence. It's a lack of independence. So don't be flattered by it. It's actually not great. It's great if they love you and they want to be with you, but if they're always hanging on, they're so insecure, they can't go 2 feet away from you. That's just dependence.
My daughter's 18 months, refuses to fall asleep with anyone but me. She gets hysterical and cries for 2 hours plus if dad or anyone else tries to calm her. How to deal with that?
There's a couple different ways you can do it. One's sort of more gentle than the other. It depends on what you want to do. Welcome to the Bratbusters Parenting Podcast. My name's Lisa Bunnage. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mom. I'm also a grandmother.
And I'm Amy Bunnage, Lisa's daughter, and I handle the marketing and planning here at Bratbusters. While I don't have kids, each episode will dive into parenting topics and Lisa will answer your questions. Let's get started.
Okay, sweetie, what are we talking about today?
Today's topic is all about Velcro kids.
Okay.
Just in case someone is new to this topic, do you want to explain what a Velcro kid is?
I think they already know. It's the kid who sticks to you like Velcro, won't leave you alone for 2 seconds, whether you're with other people or alone at home with them. You were a Velcro kid.
I was.
Yes, you were. Absolutely. I'll tell you a cute story about her. I used to sew all their clothes and all my clothes. And she was probably about 1.5, maybe 2, around that age. And I used to put a baby gate up when my son was little too. And he was great. He would just play on his own on the other side of the gate. And because sewing stuff, you can imagine a lot of dangerous stuff there. So you can't have kids in there. So, but not her. She'd be on the other side of the gate and she never cried. She was a very easy little girl. But she would be hanging onto the bars of the baby gate, just looking at me with her chin quivering. I was like maybe 3 feet away from her. I'm right there. I'm talking to her. And she wasn't happy. So I let her in. She was a very easy little girl. She didn't get into stuff. So I ended up letting her in. So she was right at my feet. She was happy as anything. As long as she's right up against me. 3 feet away. I was right there.
Just send in the message. You know, not doing it wrong, just sending the message that I would like to be in there.
Oh, it was so funny. But then, of course, it was a lot more work because every time I'd leave the room, I'd have to pick her up and put, I couldn't just leave the room and
I like
do
how you
something.
said I was a Velcro kid and then here I am working for your business.
We work together. We talk every day.
Yeah, I really was a Velcro kid.
You really were a Velcro kid. Yeah, we live like a 5-minute walk away. But yeah, we're lucky. We're very close.
Okay, so how do you find parents navigate getting their alone time if their kid is a Velcro kid?
If there is any alone time. And that's, I think, the key is you forget how fast, or you don't know how fast it's going to go. So I didn't mind that because I'd already had a kid. So I realized that just went so fast. I thought, yeah, I'll just kind of enjoy it. And, it didn't bother me all that much. But, that I couldn't really get my own space. But yeah, it goes so fast. The thing is that so long as they're not screaming and grabbing onto you, then it's fine. She never did any of that. So she just wanted to be near me all the time. But if they're screaming and grabbing onto you, that's different. And I'm sure we'll get into that in the podcast.
And then one final thing before we get into the questions. We've talked about this before, but do you find that some parents almost find it flattering and so they possibly feed it?
100%. I remember, I don't know who it was. Oh, I do. I can't say who it was though. Anyway, this is a long time ago. And it was someone that had a kid who just loved the mother, like just couldn't be with anyone else. Didn't want to be with the dad, but the mother fed it. And then when anyone else would hold the kid, she'd reach out and she'd go, "Come see mommy." And then it ended up being a negative down the road because this poor kid had a fit when he had to go to preschool or whatever because he just wanted to be with mommy. It's not that he loved her that much. It's just he didn't know how to function without her because she wouldn't let go of him. So she was very flattered by the fact that he loved her so much. Yeah, she was enabling him. I kind of felt sorry for the kid.
Okay, should we get into the questions?
Absolutely.
So the first one is Lana from South Africa. My 5.5-year-old son is very needy. He battles to play on his own, and he has a nearly 3-year-old sister. He always needs us around him, needs our validation on everything, and constantly all day long asks questions, wants to show us something, basically always needs to be engaging with us. It's quite exhausting. Even when we play with him and give him focused attention and playtime, it's never enough, and he always wants more from us. How can we get him to be less dependent and needy on us?
Yeah, that's actually kind of a tough one. And I would probably have a lot of questions before I could give you a really specific good answer on that because I don't know his particular reason and what you're like as parents. But with that, I would time our playtime. I would say, okay, we're going to play with you for 30 minutes. And then when that buzzer goes off or bell goes off, then we're going to go and do such and such. So tell him ahead of time so it's not like a surprise. And then if he does keep bugging you, say no. I would even put it on the behavior board. Let mom and dad go and do our chores or something like that without bothering us. I literally would put that on a behavior board, but word it in such a way it makes sense for you. Okay. And then he has to learn. He doesn't need to do that to you all the time. He just wants to. He's been trained to do it for sure because you just haven't put your foot down with this. So like my kids, as they got a bit older, by the time she was about 3, even a little bit younger, she knew if I said, okay, mommy's going to go talk to grandma or whatever, because I used to write to my mom every day. We lived in Australia and I wrote to my mom every day. Okay, I'm going to go write to grandma. She knew that that's your time to go play on your own. So she learned that quite young. This is like she was hanging onto the gate when she was probably 1.5 or something. But by the time she was 2 or 3, she learned. But yeah, they don't need to be like that. It's not fair to them because they're not building any pride in themselves either. How can they have pride in themselves if they can't do anything alone? So you're not doing them any favor. You already know that anyway. So yeah, just put it on the board and say, when we say we're going to go do a chore, or when we say we're going to go and just have a chat or something, and we tell you to go play on your own, you have to do that. I might set a timer for it too, though. Okay. And make it quite short. Start small, maybe make it 15 minutes. And then if he doesn't follow that, then you have a consequence. So yeah, just start small though. It's going to be a difficult habit for him to get rid of. So don't say you have to go play for an hour.
I can imagine it making me quite confusing if you have another kid, though, who isn't like that at all.
Well, they're all different. Like my son wasn't like that at all. He was so good at entertaining himself to almost to a point where I thought, wow, like he would forget about eating, but he wasn't that into food anyway. But he was really good at entertaining himself. And then she came along and I thought, whoops, what's going on here? They're just different personalities, right?
Not good at entertaining myself, very food motivated.
Very food motivated. You would never have missed a meal.
Do you want to tell the story of the Easter egg?
The Easter egg. Well, it's kind of a visual story because I have to show the face. But anyway, she'd never had any sugar. And I think Easter would have worked out. You would have been about 15 months old, I think, 15, 16 months old. She'd never had any junk food, like no sugar or chocolate or anything. And it was Easter. So we decided to let her have one of those hollow eggs. It wasn't a big one, but like she wasn't going to eat the whole thing, but we decided it was wrapped in foil. So she knew that it was something to eat because she'd seen us, but we put it on her high chair tray and she instantly went to bite into the foil. So we said, no, no. We said, Daddy is going to open it. Well, I was filming and Dad went to take it away. Well, she didn't like that. No, no, because she thought and I said, no, we're just going to peel the foil off. So we peeled the foil off and he cracked it. He broke it. And then he just gave her a little piece. She looked normal, completely normal, until she got a piece of chocolate in her mouth. Her whole face changed. It was like she'd been given some kind of drug. She looked like lightning had shot through her whole body. Her eyes went wide. She just woke up so fast, and then she wanted more. But anyway, we only gave her a little piece. But
I was like,
that
this.
was it. That was a real turning point. That was her real love of food. She didn't know anything like that existed before that.
I'm like, oh, this is the good stuff.
Yeah.
They've been withholding.
Oh, they haven't been giving me this stuff. So yeah, but the face was really cute. We've got that on video somewhere.
Okay, the next one is Paula from the United Kingdom. My toddler, who's 25 months old, has completely rejected me since the birth of our daughter, 6 weeks, and is latched onto her dad. She's very territorial of him and will not allow him to hold the baby, and ask for it to come to me as they are mummy's baby. Can understand it's an attachment, as he is more the consistent parent over the last trimester of my pregnancy and newborn. I'm breastfeeding as well, which is also a bit tying. Is there anything I can do to get a bit more of a relationship with my toddler, as she won't let me do anything with her without a tantruming scream for her dad? Or do I let it slide and just let it be a phase?
Okay. So where I'm going to challenge you here is when you said she won't let dad hold the baby. She's only 25 months old. How strong is she? Like, how is she preventing dad from holding the baby? So you're giving her a lot of power and she's using it. She's running with it. So if dad's holding the baby, get him to stand up and walk around with the baby. It's much harder for her to get to him at that and just walk around. She can't do anything about it. She can grab his leg and all that, but he can just ignore her. Then you can be available for her. You can say, do you want to play a game? She's not going to want anything to do with you initially, but eventually she'll give in because she's really little. She'll want to play a game. You've just basically got to train her out of this. Okay. If you were allowing her to control to that extent, then that's why she's getting worse. She's not going to get better if you keep allowing that.
I do enjoy that. That's mom's baby.
Yeah, and that's fine, but, dad's been the hero, he's come in and been the playmate while mom's been sick or, pregnant, and now she's got a baby, and that's okay, but now you gotta shift it. Here's the thing, you have to shift it, she's not going to. Everyone's looking to their kids to get better, and no, it's not about them, it's always about you. So you've gotta shift it. Don't let her control dad, and then only you make sure you're the only one available when dad's holding the baby. She won't want you at first, she's gonna kick and scream, and that's okay. Everyone wants to avoid the tantrum. They say, "But what do we do? She has a fit." And I'm like, "What's your point?" That is her learning. That is her lesson. Her fit, scene, meltdown, and tantrum is her learning she is not in charge. Everyone wants to avoid that. Don't. That is the lesson. That's the gold. If I know I'm doing something right and training them with something and they have a fit, I'm like, oh, good, it's working. Okay. That's her processing that she's no longer in charge. That's her learning that you're the leader, she is not. And that's okay. You want that. It's not kind to allow a child to control parents like that. You're not doing her any favor.
I think that might be what toddler parents mean, though, is when they say they won't let me, what they really possibly mean is they won't let me without a tantrum or they won't let me without screaming.
Well, I know that for a fact because I talk to parents of toddlers all the time in coaching. So I know that's what's happening. But that their scene, their fit, their meltdown, their tantrum is the process of them learning that you're in charge. A tantrum is not big emotions and big feelings. A tantrum is a loss of emotional control at not getting their own way. It's based on anger and frustration. That's none of your business. Let them process that. Let them learn how to get themselves out of it. If you come to the rescue and try and stop that and try and interrupt it, they're never going to learn.
Okay, the next one is Astrid from Belgium. My 2-year-old, just turned 2, has a clear preference for dad. She screams and hits me if I try to get her out of bed in the morning, put her in bed in the evening, or change her during the day. I try and ignore it and get on with the task at hand, but it doesn't seem to get any better, and it's starting to make me second guess the reason why. Due to work, I am frequently more absent than dad at bedtime, and also for morning routines, so 2 to 3 times a month. But otherwise, I am baffled. Why am I the bad guy when we are both at home? When dad's not around, she doesn't protest as much to me doing everything. Of course, it's hurtful being rejected by my daughter. I'm wondering if there's anything I could do to improve our connection, or is it just a phase that I need to wait out? It's been several months now.
It should just be a phase. And also make sure you're alone with her more. If dad's been, that one-on-one time, it's just different. I know even with my granddaughter, she's very different with me. I have her 1 day a week. She's very different with me when her dad or mom aren't around because, of course, they're first and second, right? And I'm third or fourth or fifth, wherever with grandparents, right? So, but they're very different. So it's very like if you were alone with her, she'll connect with you better. You got to put time into them. You don't just build a connection by being the hero and buying them presents and all that stuff and trying to do something nice for her. It's time that matters to them. It's the time you put in. It's the caregiving too. That is a lot of love that goes into caregiving, and they pick up on that. That's how you really build connection with a young one, is the caregiving.
And I'm Annie Amy.
Oh, she's Annie Amy. And every time I pick up my phone, whenever I've got my granddaughter, and then Auntie Amy always calls. So as soon as my phone rings, she goes, Annie Amy, Annie Amy, and she starts talking really quiet when Annie Amy's on the phone. Second she hangs up, she's loud as anything again. But she's so cute.
Okay, the next one is Alessandra from the United Kingdom. I don't know what else to do. My son, who's 4, no matter how much I play with him, it's never enough. If he's not been stimulated 24/7, he is having a meltdown. I not only do not enjoy playing with him most of the time, it's not my personality, and he is also the type of kid that tells you to play, that doesn't actually let you do anything. But I also have a lot of other things I need to do in life, so admin around the house. As I have a 1.5-year-old and a part-time job, don't get any free time. Any suggestions? Also, do you ignore tantrums for over 3?
Yeah, you always ignore tantrums. Anyway, you said that he doesn't let me, or else you'll have a fit. That falls into what we were just talking about. So he does let you. It's his fit that you think he can't. You know what I mean? It's the fit that's getting in the way, the tantrum that's getting in the way. Don't allow that. Just say to him, okay, I'm going to play for 30 minutes and then I've got some work to do, and then follow through. Now, when you work from home, they don't understand that. I have a lot of parents who want my help in coaching, and they say we both work from home full time, and the kids just don't understand. And I'm like, I know. How can they? They don't understand work. They don't understand mortgage payments. They don't understand paying taxes. They just don't get that. They don't understand why you're there and you can't ever spend time with them during the day. This is when they're a bit older too sometimes. Or else you have a nanny and you're behind a closed door in the office. So we have to work with that. So the you working is very difficult at part-time even. He's not going to understand that. But set aside a very specific amount of time that you're going to do something really fun with him that he absolutely loves. Then when that alarm goes off, say, now it's work time. I'm going to go work now. And then give him a project. Have some baskets on top of the fridge with different projects in them. I used to have stuff like that all the time around the house. I would save all the old toilet rolls and just popsicle sticks and anything. Well, I wouldn't use old ones, but I'd buy new popsicle sticks. But anyway, I'd put all that aside, and then I'd have some tape or something that he could tape it all up with. So I'd just pull down a basket, give him something different to do. They don't care if it's expensive. They just care if it's new, something different. You can buy like magic trick kits. You can buy science experiment tricks or whatever. Make some Play-Doh, buy some Play-Doh, have something else for him to do. He will eventually learn. His fit scenes, meltdowns, and tantrums, that's him processing that something is changing. Don't let that stop you. That's what parents do. They see the fit and then they just don't know what to do. Let it go. Let him have a fit. That's okay.
Something I want to touch on with this is about how he's playing with her. And she said it's not really her personality to play. You've talked about this before about going through the motions in Playtime.
I did talk about that, and I was going to mention that too. And I thought, no, I won't this time, but now you brought it up, so I will. They know when you're going through the motions. It's, how do I put this? You find something that you enjoy that you think that you could incorporate him into. Do you like dance? Do you like playing an instrument? Do you like art? Is there anything that you like that you could bring him in on that he would also love? So think about that, because I always say you enter into their world to connect with them, right? But if you hate his world, like you don't like playing kids games, I get that. I get clients like that, right? But then you've got to figure something out that make it age appropriate for him, something that you enjoy doing. I've got clients who love to dance, usually moms, but anyway, they love to dance. So then they get their kids involved in dance and then they can dance together. Another one loves one of the moms, I think she liked knitting or something like that. She got a craft that a little kid could do too with wool. So while she's knitting, the kid could, and then they're talking the whole time and she's encouraging, so I always say you enter their world, but you might have to pull them into your interests a little bit, but still make it age appropriate. But yeah, you fake it till you make it, but really try hard to find a way to enjoy your kid. I was working with this mom, and a while back, and she said the same thing. She said, look, I just don't like kid stuff. I never did. She goes, I never babysat because I never found kids interesting. And now I've got this little kid that I really don't connect with. And this kid loved Lego. So I said, okay, so your rule on the behavior board is no yelling. If you yell, or whatever it was, I can't remember. If you yell, then you have to play Lego for 30 minutes. That's your consequence. He loved that. So anyway, she ended up playing with him. She'd never done it before. So I said, you sit on the floor and let him be in charge of the games, right? Let him tell you what to do and show you what, so he's sort of the leader with play. She ended up loving it. She goes, I've never seen him that loving and that sweet before. He was in heaven because his mom was on the floor playing Lego with him. That's the ultimate. He knew that was love because he knew she hated playing Lego, but she ended up really enjoying it just because of the connection she had with her son. You might surprise yourself.
And I think the final part of that is that she was saying that he isn't the best at playtime and telling you what to do. How do you approach that when kids are being a little too bossy during playtime?
Yeah, well, you can just have a very specific thing that you're going to play. Say, I'm going to play Lego. And when he starts getting too bossy, I would say, oh, yeah, that might be interesting, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. See how I'm whispering? And then I might go and I'll play with something a little bit different over here. And I say, have you tried this? Have you tried that? So watch your tone. Make it sound interesting, like you've got something interesting to do. If he gets too bossy, just say, no, you're getting a little bit bossy here. We might have to cut it short. We might have to stop. So you can do that, but just try not to initially, because he is going to be bossy initially because he knows you don't like doing it. So that's why he's doing that. It's coming from a place of feeling hurt, I'm assuming.
What is the power of a whisper?
The power of a whisper. Remember Ann Walker?
I definitely do.
Okay. Both my kids lucked out and got her. All the teachers loved her. She was an older teacher. She had a lot of experience, but my son was the older kid and he got her first. And she just had so much control over these kids, but she never yelled or never raised her voice. And my son came home and he was all excited. He goes, "Oh, one of the kids was acting out, and she talked like you. She whispers when she's mad." So it's the power of a whisper. It makes you look like you're really calm and really in control. You talk slow and you talk low. Okay, you go, "I'll tell you what." That's exactly how she would have talked. And that's how I talk. So it was just hilarious that it works, right? It's leadership. You never yell. It's just the power of a whisper. It makes you look very calm and in control. And that's what a leader wants to be.
I don't remember her ever talking where I didn't have to just lean in a little just to hear. She was so fantastic,
She
though.
just had it. She just had it. It was great. I loved her. But you guys were lucky. You got a lot of really great teachers, and she was one of the best for sure.
Okay, we have the next question is Erica from the United States. My baby is 9 months old and I'm nursing to sleep and doing contact naps, and I pick her up when she cries. I'm worried that these habits are not good, and when she turns 16 months, she's going to have learned that when she cries, I come. What advice would you give me to help her have a smooth transition where she is 16 months old and then the consistent corrective action begins?
Keep picking her up until she's about 13, 14, 15 months old. The thing is, she's not that good at entertaining herself. She hasn't got much to do yet. Once they get up on their feet and they can be mobile and they've got toys to go and play with, you're going to be a little bit less interesting. Okay. She'll become less dependent upon you. So make sure that you get started with her playing stuff. So you say, "Okay, here's this," and you show her and you play initially with them. So when you introduce a new toy or something that you want them to play with, you play with them. And then you say, "Oops, I'm going to get up and do the laundry now." And you get up and you say what you're going to do. Don't just get up and leave. Okay. Get up and say, "I'm going to go do the laundry." That implies you're going to be right back. You might be, you might not. So yeah, that's what I did with my kids. I'd start playing with them. And then once they were involved, I'd say, "Oh, I'm just going to go blah, blah, blah."
I
Like
remember that actually. I remember the laundry turning into the
three
other
hours.
cleaning, and the cup of tea started going, and I was like, what is going on?
Boy, that is an interesting laundry session. It's 4 hours now. Yeah. But you see, I wasn't saying, "Now I'm leaving, play on your own." It was just, "Yeah, I'm going to go do that. I'm just going to go blah, blah, blah." Yeah. For a couple hours.
Sneaky.
I was. It was great. Okay. So yeah, don't keep picking her up. If a baby cries, I pick him up. That's just my belief because that's all they've got, right? That's all they've got. They're not mobile that well yet. They can't do a lot yet. So yeah, if they cry, I pick them up.
Okay, we have one final question. So, Victoria from the Netherlands. Hi, my daughter's 18 months after becoming a big sister since a month, refuses to fall asleep with anyone but me. She gets hysterical and cries for 2 hours plus if dad or anyone else tries to calm her. How to deal with that?
Okay. She's 18 months. I'm assuming she's in a crib. There's a couple different ways you can do it. One's sort of more gentle than the other. It depends on what you want to do. Um, and she's 18 months old. What you do is you can go in there and you pat her on the back, and then you leave for 1 minute. Then you come back, pat her on the back, and then 2 minutes later, and then you leave for 2 minutes. And then you keep lengthening the time. When you pat her on the back, don't look like you feel sorry for her. Don't go, "It's okay." Don't do that. Just say, "You're all right." Pat her, the whisper, "You're all right." Pat her on the back. She's probably standing up, hanging onto the side of the crib. That's okay. Try and lay her down. If she gets up again, just leave anyway. Okay, so it's a very quick little quiet entrance. "You're okay." Pat her, leave. So you keep lengthening the minute, keep adding 1 minute on. Okay, she should eventually fall asleep. That's what I would do. The other one that's a bit more nicer, I guess, but I don't like it. It's not as effective. I just don't like it as much. But some parents have a hard time leaving the room. So that's why I'm giving you this little gem here. So what you do is you set up a chair beside the crib and you make the room really dark, but enough that they can see you. And you just give that through the crib rails, you give them one of your arms on your hand. And then you sit and you nod off, look like you're falling asleep beside them. Okay. You're right there. But in other words, it's sleep time. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to play with you. You're all right. You might say, "You're all right," the odd time to let them know that you're still alive, right? But basically you're right there. So she just wants to get up, right? The world's sort of been, is this the one that they just had a new baby a month ago? Yeah. Her world's shifted a little bit. So she's feeling a little bit insecure. So pick your battle, whichever one you want to do. They both work. I prefer the first one.
I'd probably put in a podcast to start drifting off.
Yeah, it's powerful because everyone wants to use words, but it's the actions that are powerful. It's not the words. They're not listening to you, they're watching you. So everyone wants to have, what do I say to them? Well, you don't. This is what you do when they're little.
Okay, that's it for the questions.
Okay, so Velcro kids, it's kind of a weird thing to say. It's not necessarily love, it's dependence. It's a lack of independence. So don't be flattered by it. It's actually not great. It's great if they love you and they want to be with you, but if they're always hanging on, they're so insecure, they can't go 2 feet away from you. That's just dependence, okay? And if there was food, you would have been quite happy to be away from mom. So you just didn't have enough that was more interesting than mom, aside from food. So, but yeah, basically, it's not that they love you so much. It's just that they've become very dependent upon you, and you want to wean them off of that so that they can play on their own and have more pride and independence. That's what builds self-esteem, right? Not hanging on to mom or dad. It's the independence that builds their confidence and their self-esteem.
Because have you seen that this is something that naturally peters out? Or if parents coddle this, does this tend to continue?
No, it doesn't. As they get older, like by the time they're 6, 7, 8 years old, they don't usually do that because it's socially embarrassing for them. Like if they go out and they're hanging onto their mom's leg at 8 years old. So it's social pressure that usually gets them out of that. Yeah. So they usually do outgrow it, but it's harder for them to be independent on their own if you're not encouraging it. Like you want to start encouraging that. And you were really good after that. You learned, it's just that sewing. I remember the sewing room. I thought, I got to work on this. That was when I realized that, you were so dependent.
And dance class.
In dance class. Yeah, that was cute. She was 3 years old and I was like 20 feet away sitting in the same room. It wasn't even behind glass. She was 3 years old in dance class. She wanted to be sitting on mommy's lap as usual. And when she looked over at me, she saw nothing but my face would have said, "You'll survive." She just looked away and she dealt with it. But yeah, I didn't coddle her at all. And she learned. She ended up becoming very independent and very loved joining everything. So
I think the concern from parents is possibly that they're going to traumatize their kid if they're quite upset about leaving them. What are your thoughts on that?
well, you mean separation anxiety when you actually leave? Yeah, I call it the dump and run. So if you have a kid who doesn't want to separate from you, you make the goodbye very quick. And you always end with a little hook at the end. You say, "Okay, see you later," and then leave. Just leave. Whoever you're leaving them with, they're probably experienced enough to understand that that's just separation anxiety. Usually takes 3 to 6 weeks for them to get out of that. But if you're prolonging the goodbye, it makes it worse. And also, don't make a big deal out of the reunion. So when you come to pick them up, "Oh, I've missed you so much," and huge, you can hug them and say, "Oh, did you have a good day? What did you do today?" Be all cheery. Don't be all like sympathetic, like, "You poor thing, you've been without me all day." So the goodbye is really important to make it short, and the hello, don't overdo it.
Okay, that was everything on my end.
Okay, Velcro kids, they will outgrow this eventually, usually. It's not flattering to you. Actually, a lot of parents, like you said, a lot of parents think it's very flattering. It's not. You're not building independent, strong kids. You're building weak little little Velcro kids who are just not going to be able to do anything on their own. You're not doing them any favor. It's not love. It's more instability and fear. And yeah, that's what it's based on. So yeah, just think of it that way. So you're doing them a favor by teaching them how to be more independent. You can time their independent play. I wouldn't reward it, by the way, but I would have a consequence if you say to an older kid, especially if they're 3 and 4, and you say to them, "Look, I want you to go and play on your own for 15 minutes. And if you don't, there'll be a consequence." Make sure it's something new, something that they would like to do. And then you're nearby. You're not driving away and going to a movie or anything. You're right in the other room. They'll survive. Okay. Okay, I think that's it for this one. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back again soon talking about another parenting topic. Happy parenting.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're ready to dive deeper, check out bratbusters.com to learn more about the behavior board, parenting courses, and private one-on-one coaching with Lisa. If you've enjoyed the show so far, we'd love it if you could take a moment to follow, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more parents just like you. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional advice. Lisa is a parenting coach, mom, and grandmother. She is not a licensed psychologist or counselor. Her services do not replace the care of psychologists or other healthcare professionals. For a full disclaimer, please visit bratbusters.com/disclaimer.